So now we are 3 or 4 albums in with Typo Negative. It really all depends on your philosophies. You know, I explained the whole origin of the feces story, and it's really one of those things where some people will include it as an album, even though it's a fake live album, or not. So we're going to kind of close the book on that. We're just going to call this their third studio album, which is October Rust. Now, October Rust is coming off of the landmark success of Bloody Kisses, which was the first Roadrunner Records album to ever go gold, not to mention platinum. So really, with the release of that album and the success of that album, Typo Negative really far exceeded the expectations of their record company that were already kind of getting a little bit perturbed with them and kind of were losing their patience a little bit with the band, considering the joke that the origin of the feces really played. With October Rust, you're going to notice a couple of changes that took place with this album, and that's one of the principal ones that you're going to hear is there's not nearly as many samples that you're going to hear that you maybe were used to with an album such as Bloody Kisses, and especially not with Slow, Deep, and Hard. Slow, Deep, and Hard definitely contained a lot more of that. Also, there's only one track that eclipses the 10-minute mark, and that is Haunted. And you know, that's a fantastic song by its own regard and its own right. It definitely bears true to its name. However, this is also something that you're not 100% used to. While there wasn't really too many in the range of the 10-minute long section on Bloody Kisses, but there were a pair. And whenever that happens, those long, endeavorous songs really set a mood and kind of got the opportunity to run at its own pace and really, you know, examine and expose the inner workings of that track at a very gradual process. Some people will also argue that October Rust may feel at some points a little streamlined, but I completely disagree with that. Consider the very first track that you hear. And no, I don't mean tracks 1 and 2 because those are just jokes. I'm talking about Love You to Death. This is another song which, like a song like Black Number 1 or Christian Mistress, is one of those absolutely quintessential Typo Negative songs that, if you're a fan of this band, it's probably among your favorites. And it just is able to do so because it's able to do what those previous songs were able to do and really walk at its own pace, but also it's got that hook, it's got that edge, it's got that, you know, it factor to it that you immediately recognize. And while that's something that doesn't seem to be always quested for in heavy metal music, it's something that does, in a way, help. Because this is a song that is instantly recognizable to metal fans, to rock fans, to Typo Negative fans, and even some of the haters around the globe. It's easy to tell whenever this song is starting. Over the course of the entire record, you start to hear it really expose itself to you even further. I know that sounds dirty, that's the point. Whenever you listen to songs such as Redwater Christmas Morn and Wolf Moon, you're once again gathering the pieces of quintessential numbers. October Rust is more than just a consistent record. This is an album that continues to feed off of itself, and as you're listening to it, you continue to feed off of its energy. It's something where it is not necessarily taking you down to the most depraved depths of your soul in order to really search for yourself and to try to claw your way out of this maybe 6-foot grave that they have burrowed you into. Rather, instead, you're feeding off of this energy. This is something that continued a little bit onward whenever we get into the first part of the 2000s with Life Is Killing Me. But this is an album where I really felt captivated by it, you know. Instead of it really trying to trudge me and bring me down, I felt myself kind of right there along with it, just, you know, pumping my fist with it. And this was, of course, way back before, you know, fist bumping was taboo. You know, you just really listen to a record like this and you feel at home. You feel that this is what this style of music is all about. There's those dark moments, those very, very black humorous moments that we've come to realize and love from this band. There are the covers, there's just so many different glorifying things that you could say. Cinnamon Girl was one of the first songs I ever heard from Typo Negative, their cover, of course, of Neil Young. And it still to this day remains to be just one of those favorites that I recognize instantly, regardless of what version it is. The reason why? Because of music videos. There was a music video for this song that I saw on The Box. I'm not sure if any of you guys remember that. But if you do, leave it in a comment, because The Box was awesome in the 90s. it was definitely a great way to find a lot of awesome bands, even though most of them tended to lean a little toward the mainstream. Overall, October Rust actually proved to be maybe more of a quintessential Type O Negative record than Bloody Kisses. This is another one of those must-haves in their discography that you really need to own, because it just has so much to offer a listener. And it's one of those albums that repays you with each passing listen. It's not one that necessarily tires either. I remember there was one weekend at work that I just needed a change and a break from the goddamn pop-laced monotony that I was constantly exposed to, so I threw this on just for fun. And I found myself not wanting to go to the other discs, even after playing through October Rust all the way through to the 3 different times. It was one of those albums that was so classic that I wanted to just go back to the first track, that fake track, that feedback-ridden track, and listen to the whole experience all over again. I love this album, but it still isn't my favorite Type O Negative album. Is it next? Stay tuned.